In this video, I'm going to show you how to change an Inventor part to an assembly file, which will help us process it further to use with CAD-CAM. So we're going to rename the solids from a part and then create a new assembly from that file. Then we're going to reset the front view of the new assembly file, and then we're going to assign the materials to the different separate parts. Okay, so here we have a design. I've brought in another design as well, just a simple drawer here, which would be laser cut out of acrylic, whereas this design here is plywood. So at the moment, they've both been created as parts. That is an IPT file, which you can see, just a simple part with different new solids, and every single part, different kind of piece of this design has been created as a new solid. So each extrusion where it adds material, let's have a look at say this shelf here. When I added the extrusion, if I double click on that, you'll see that it's a new solid, and that's really important to see. So when you're coming up with your materials now, these new solids, once you finish, will be shown under here in solid bodies, and they're all here as solid bodies. Okay, now it's important at this point to rename them. You can do that just by kind of not double clicking them, but just kind of slowly clicking them. So this is the base, I would call that one the base, and if I go through each one of these, this is maybe side 1, side 2, might just click again, let's call that top. Let's call that shelf. This is I think support bracket 1. Whoops, not 12. This is the other support bracket underneath. These would be probably 3D printed, these ones. This is an acrylic, so this is kind of, let's call this the phone holder. It holds something, so we'd probably laser cut that, so we'll just call it phone holder. This one is the feet, but they weren't created as individual parts. We'd put them in as feet anyway, but I might not use them later. And then this is just some inserts into our whole product. Okay, so there we go. We've now renamed all of the different solid bodies, and it's important to do that before you then create a assembly. So at the moment, if I show you this is where the kind of the designs are currently. I've just been renaming storage, this one here called storage. Now I'm going to create an assembly, and that's going to create lots of sort of split all those parts up into different files. So you want to create a new folder first in there, and we're going to call that storage. That's what the name of the product is, and assembly. So now the first thing you want to do is you want to save as your work. So we're going to save as. You could save it actually first. Now you've renamed these, save it first. But what we really want to do is we want to save as the file into our storage assembly that we've created. So we're going to still create this as, it's still going to be an IPT file at the moment. It's still just one part. We're going to save it. And you'll see now if I check in here, you'll see we've got our storage assembly, and there is the part. It's gone from, now we're working on this part here. All right. Now what we want to do is create this assembly. So we're going to go up to the top, manage tab here, and we're going to make components, and then we're going to sort of if we open up this solid bodies, if it's not open already after you saved it, we're going to save all of these and create all of these components, and it's going to become an assembly. See, this as .iam instead, and we want to save that inside this storage assembly. And if you saved your part in here already, then it will still be in now that folder. Okay, so we're going to save it in there. That's going to be our kind of area to save it in. And first we have to click all the parts that we want to create. So when I click that solid body there, this part selects here. You can also select them on here, but I find it easier, now we've renamed these, to select them all here. So I can just hold down shift and select all of those. Let's put all of them in here, and then we're going to create next. And that has now sort of allocated all these parts and created a path for them all. We're going to click apply and OK. And that has now, we can kind of close this now. That has created now a file, which is an assembly file. An assembly file is here. Okay, so we've got our storage where we were originally made our file. We resaved it in the file. Now this is called storage here, which is an assembly file. I'm going to save that. Now that's really important. You have to save. Click on that file and save it. All right. If I now show you what the folder looks like after that's just finished thinking, come over here. Now this folder is full of all the different parts that you have made. This was the first file that we were working on called storage. And now we're going to be working on the assembly file called storage, which has got all of these parts linked to it, assembled inside it. So that's now our assembly. And we're working on this part here. So we can almost close this one now, and we can work on this storage assembly. Now, I personally like to, whenever I'm working on it, make sure I kind of get these around the right way. And you can see it thinks the front is the right. So I'm going to change it so it's showing the front, and then right click on the house, set current view as front, and then click on this top corner so it's in isometric, and right click on the house again and set current view as home, and then fit to view. Okay, so once you've got your assembly created and you set it up so that your folder now in a separate folder with all these files, you can now assign the materials. Now, I know this part looks like it's been assigned materials, but it has only been assigned an appearance to each of these faces, not an actual material. And it's important, you have to do this in an assembly if you've got different materials. If you did it whilst it was just one part, it would just assign one material. What we want to do now is assign a different material to each of these separate parts. Okay, and by doing that, we're going to go up to this button here. You'll see actually, if I click on this, you'll see it's a generic material and it's saying it's a default kind of color. So we're going to change, click off of them, and we're going to click this button here. And this is our material browser. So this button here, not any of these, our material button here. Okay, and in here, I'm going to search for plywood. And here we've got these different options of plywood. I think I'm just going to use this button here to select it and bring it up into this category. If it doesn't actually do that, just click and drag it into there. Okay, and then I'm going to sort of bring that over to the side, and I'm going to hover over these different parts and select them. And when you select them, you can kind of see, if I bring this over here, you can see they're kind of slightly changing colors. So you can see it's lined up there. All right, and we know what they are as well, top and shelf, but not these support brackets or phone holders. So we've got all of those different ones, and we're going to assign them to this plywood. So now if I click on plywood with them highlighted, there we go. That's now allocated the plywood sort of material and finish here to these different parts. Okay, so now that that's been clicked on here, you can now click off the whole thing, and then we're going to search for some materials. So this is an acrylic, which is actually you've got these kind of materials here. Is probably better to use PMMA plastic. Maybe acrylic will work. Let's see, let's drag that up, and then we'll click on the phone holder and then acrylic there. So that's now assigned that. We're now going to go for the support brackets, which are PLA 3D printed material. Now I'm pretty sure if I put in PLA, there's nothing here that comes up that would be appropriate. Probably the nearest thing we can work would either be some sort of 3D printable plastic. I'll just go for PET at the moment. So we've got a PET plastic there, so we can just, with those two highlighted now, click on that PET plastic. Done the phone holder, the feet. I might actually also, as it's a plastic, let's just see if it actually drag that back up to there. There we go. Click on it there, and the inserts, these inserts are actually, I believe, plywood inserts as well. So I'm just going to put these, there it is, click on plywood and click it on there. That's just these two little parts here. Now that's my materials assigned and allocated to it. That's really important to do. They're all now, if I click on any one of those, you'll see up here it's a PET, plastic and a polycarbonate.